Eleanor Whitmore's pen scratched across parchment in her dimly lit study, the scent of jasmine mingling with the fading notes of an old piano sonata. The night was cool, and the window, slightly ajar, admitted a whisper of autumn's chill that stirred the curtains. Though cancer had ravaged her body, it had not diminished the fire within her. Every stroke of her pen was a testament to a life spent fighting against injustice and the darkness that lurked in unexpected corners. She sealed the envelope with a wax stamp bearing the family crest, a phoenix rising from its own ashes. Eleanor Whitmore. Forgive the secrecy, Evelyn. Tucking the letter into a hidden compartment of her mahogany desk, Eleanor whispered, Eleanor Whitmore. Some truths must unfurl in their own season. Outside her study, in the deep shadows cast by an ancient oak, a figure moved silently. A woman in a tailored trench coat, her gloved hand gripping a syringe, lingered at the edge of the light, a dark promise of what was to come. Rain pounded relentlessly against the leaded windows of the Harrison estate, a torrential symphony that matched the tumult inside Evelyn Whitmore's heart. In the grand foyer of the old mansion, Evelyn stood before a shattered Ming vase, the prized artifact of her family's storied past, now reduced to fragments scattered across the marble floor. The vase, an heirloom once passed down from generations, was more than mere porcelain. It was the embodiment of history, a silent witness to both joy and sorrow. As she knelt to collect the delicate pieces, the familiar scent of Diane's Chanel No. 5 preceded an elegant entrance. Diane, ever the emblem of refined cruelty, drifted into the room with a predatory grace. Diane, clumsy as ever, Evelyn. Her tone, as sweet as it was scathing, cut deeper than any reprimand. Diane, that vase was worth more than your degree. Evelyn's jaw tightened as memories of bitter childhood disputes and corporate betrayals flooded back. Evelyn... Garrett threw it. Diane, details. Your father's waiting. In the oak-panelled study, a room filled with portraits of stern-faced ancestors and heavy drapes that muted the light, Richard Whitmore, Evelyn's aging father, stood like a statue with his back turned. In a luxurious leather wingback chair, Garrett, her stepbrother, lounged with an air of unrepentant superiority. He twirled a sleek Mont Blanc pen between his fingers as if it were a scepter of authority. Garrett, took you long enough? Richard Whitmore. We've restructured the company. Garrett will assume leadership of Harrison Enterprises. I've worked there for 5 years. I redesigned our supply chain and offended half our clients with your sustainability lectures. Dad needs a CEO who doesn't apologize for profits. We're protecting your future, dear. You'll retain an advisory role. Overwhelmed by the bitter betrayal, Evelyn fled the suffocating confines of the study and sought refuge in the one place that had always been her sanctuary, her late grandmother Eleanor's rose garden. Once a riot of colour and fragrance, the garden now lay strangled by invasive weeds. Among the tangled vines and broken stems, beneath the withered white Eden climber that had been her grandmother's favourite, Evelyn's trembling fingers discovered a rusted key taped to a faded envelope. She pulled the envelope free and unfolded the brittle paper. In a looping, elegant script it read, Dearest Evelyn, if you're reading this, they've shown their true colours. The key opens my studio downtown. Trust only Virgil. Grandmother Evelyn's heart pounded. In that quiet moment amid the overgrown roses and memories of a kinder time, she resolved to seek out the hidden truths her grandmother had safeguarded so carefully. A few days later, Virgil Sato, Eleanor's silver-haired attorney and a man whose quiet wisdom had earned him a place in the family's inner circle, arrived to meet Evelyn. He led her through the worn, graffiti-scarred streets of Soho to a derelict loft that once bustled with creative energy. Dust motes danced in the shafts of sunlight that broke through boarded-up windows, and every creaking floorboard seemed to whisper secrets of the past. This, Evelyn, is the former headquarters of the Veridian Circle. He paused before a nondescript wall panel, its surface marred by years of neglect. With a careful touch, he pressed a hidden latch, revealing a narrow passageway behind the wall. Your grandmother founded the Veridian Circle, a collective of formidable women who have all faced down injustice in their own way. Inside the cramped archive, Evelyn's eyes widened at the sight of meticulously maintained ledgers and weathered journals. The records chronicled decades of subversion and rebellion. 1987, Lila Chen, who had valiantly countered her brother's hostile takeover of Chen Textiles. 2001, Amara Santos, who exposed her stepfather's embezzlement at Santos Shipping. These are not just names. They are your arsenal. Every woman in this circle has fought against a corrupt system, and now their experiences are your weapons. Virgil extended his hand and pressed a sleek burner phone into hers. Eleanor's final gift. This phone has contacts within the circle. Use it wisely. I want you to call mentor number 9 when you're ready to unlock the next chapter of our struggle. Evelyn's thumb hovered over the contact labeled mentor number 9. In that moment, a mix of fear and determination surged through her. With each beat of her heart, she knew that the journey she was about to undertake was fraught with peril, but also illuminated by the possibility of redemption. Not long after her encounter with Virgil, Evelyn found herself in the heart of Seattle at Café Lumière, a well-worn haven for activists, visionaries, and those disillusioned with the status quo. The café, with its exposed brick walls and mismatched furniture, buzzed with quiet, revolutionary energy. Here, ideas flowed as freely as the locally roasted coffee, and every whispered conversation carried the promise of change. Evelyn's eyes were drawn to a striking woman sitting alone at a corner table. With a purposeful grace, mentor number 9, Marisol Vega, the dynamic CEO of Vega Renewables, nursed a strong espresso while scanning her laptop screen. When Evelyn approached, Marisol looked up with an inscrutable smile. Marisol Vega, VO. Eleanor once saved my company. I was on the brink of losing everything to my cocaine addict cousin when she stepped in. Now I'm here because I owe her a debt of gratitude. Sliding a small, discreet USB drive across the table, Marisol continued. Marisol Vega, VO. There's something you need to know. Diane, your aunt by marriage, is not who she seems. Her real name is Daria Ivanova. A dropout from a Moscow boarding school, she has built her reputation on divorcing wealthy men and siphoning their fortunes. She's been laundering money through Harrison Enterprises for years. The so-called restructuring your father announced was merely a cover for a fire sale to Russian shell companies. As Evelyn absorbed Marisol's revelation, her phone vibrated with an alert. A quick glance revealed that Garrett's Instagram feed now featured a yacht selfie, tagged with the hashtag #FutureTycoon. The irony stung bitterly. Here was her stepbrother flaunting a lifestyle funded by betrayal, while the foundation of her family crumbled around her. Look closely at these photos. This is how deep the corruption goes. The very person you trusted is orchestrating a coup against our legacy. Evelyn left the cafe with a head swirling with new information and a newfound resolve. The threads of conspiracy were beginning to form a tapestry that, if unraveled, might just expose the darkest secrets of the Whitmore dynasty. The turning point came with the launch of Ecovista Innovations, a daring new venture conceived in the very heart of the rebellion against corporate greed. Housed in a converted warehouse on Seattle's industrial fringe, Ecovista's walls were adorned with the mottos of the Veridian Circle: roots in shadows, wings in sunlight. Every inch of the space pulsed with creative energy, a stark contrast to the cold, calculated boardrooms that had come to define Heiress Enterprises. Evelyn, now the reluctant spearhead of the movement, unveiled Ecovista's first product biodegradable PPE kits designed to protect both people and the planet. The innovation quickly caught the eye of Harborview Hospital, and soon investors began to murmur about the impressive profit margins. During one pitch, a sharply dressed executive, the niece of Lila Chen, one of the founding members of the Circle, leaned forward. "Executive impressive margins, but can you handle our volume?" Before Evelyn could reply, chaos erupted. At dawn, a dumpster fire ripped through the raw materials storage facility, a calculated act of sabotage. The investigators' grim report stated plainly, "Insurance won't cover arson," and on a nearby wall, graffiti was scrawled in bold red letters, "Know your place." It was clear that Garrett and his cronies were willing to burn not only the materials, but also the future of Ecovista to reassert their control. In the midst of the chaos, Marisol's text arrived with terse instructions. Marisol Vega, Portland Storage Unit 214, passcode Eleanor's birthday. With her heart pounding, Evelyn drove to the storage facility. Inside, in a dimly lit space filled with rows of industrial shelving, she discovered 6 tons of mushroom-based packaging foam, a crucial resource for Ecovista's production line. This hidden cache, preserved against all odds, symbolized hope. It was Eleanor's legacy, a secret arsenal to be used when the world needed a rebellion most. Armed with this new resource and the knowledge gleaned from the Veridian Circle's archives, Evelyn felt the first true surge of empowerment. She began to see herself not as a pawn in her father's corporate game, but as the heir to a legacy of resistance, a phoenix destined to rise from the ashes of betrayal. A grand gala was soon arranged in Seattle, a glittering affair meant to bring together the city's elite, investors, and cultural influencers. Under the crystalline chandeliers of the newly renovated Harrison Tower, the stage was set for a dramatic confrontation. Garrett, dressed in a meticulously tailored Tom Ford tuxedo, strutted about with the confidence of a man who believed himself invincible. He preened before hidden cameras that had been planted by hired professionals, all designed to capture his every move for his own twisted sense of triumph. At the climax of the evening, as the lights dimmed and all eyes turned to the stage, Ecovista's logo illuminated the giant screen. Evelyn strode forward with a calm authority that belied the turbulent emotions churning inside her. "Evelyn, our oceans aren't landfills!" Her words resonated with the gathered crowd, sparking murmurs of admiration and hope. But the celebration was cut short. Diane's champagne flute shattered against the marble floor as she launched a bitter tirade. "Diane, you reckless girl, you'll bankrupt us all!" The confrontation escalated as Richard Whitmore, weakened by years of silent suffering, collapsed mid-protest. The room filled with panic, and the cameras captured every anguished moment as Richard suffered a heart attack. A long-awaited reckoning for a man who had once cloaked his failures behind corporate restructuring. In the midst of the chaos, Garrett's face contorted into a mask of rage. His outburst, recorded live, became a viral spectacle. "Garrett, I'll burn Eco Vista to the ground!" The declaration sent shockwaves through the elite, and whispers of corporate sabotage and betrayal became the talk of the night. Days later, the sterile corridors of Harborview Hospital bore silent witness to the aftermath of that fateful night. Richard Whitmore, now under intensive care, clutched Eleanor's locket, a cherished memento from Evelyn's childhood, while his once proud eyes flickered with regret and pain. Richard Whitmore, the Circle, knew. "Your grandmother warned me about Daria. I didn't listen." In a parallel drama unfolding far from the hospital's cold sterility, Garrett's desperate plans began to crumble. Intercepted at SeaTac Airport by Marisol's team, he was found with a suitcase stuffed with Harrison Enterprises bonds, a clear attempt to finance his nefarious schemes. His arrest, broadcast widely, served as a symbolic end to a reign of corporate tyranny. Meanwhile, Evelyn and Julian, her estranged brother now seeking redemption, reunited to confront the tangled web of betrayal. "Julian, I had to make things right. I know I wronged you by siding with them. I've been gathering recordings, documents, proof of every misdeed." At a subsequent hearing, as the media and legal authorities scrutinized every detail, Evelyn took the stand. "Evelyn, my grandmother's legacy was not one of greed and submission. It was about fighting for what's right, even when the odds were stacked against you. Today, I stand here not just for myself, but for every daughter who has been forced to watch her world crumble under the weight of corruption." Months later, Harrison Tower had been transformed into a vibrant hub for innovation and community engagement. Ecovista's headquarters now occupied the top floors, their sleek, modern design a striking contrast to the time-worn facade of the old family empire. In the grand lobby, a large portrait of Eleanor Whitmore hung proudly, a reminder of the indomitable spirit that had sparked the rebellion. In one of those quiet moments, as she strolled through the restored rose garden where Eleanor once nurtured her beloved blooms, Evelyn recalled a conversation with Marisol. "Evelyn, why help me? Marisol Vega?" Because Eleanor's real legacy wasn't the circle. It's the daughters who remake broken systems. At Richard Whitmore's parole hearing, a subdued and reflective Richard finally accepted responsibility for his part in the family's downfall. Evelyn's testimony, delivered with both compassion and firmness, spoke of accountability and the painful process of healing. "Evelyn, he's learning slowly, just as I did. Change is a journey, and we must all learn to stand accountable for our actions." In the very heart of the rose garden, where the remnants of old betrayals lay intermingled with the promise of new beginnings, Evelyn found solace in a final, intimate letter left behind by her grandmother. "Eleanor Whitmore, bloom boldly, dear Evelyn. Even in the deepest shadows, the light finds a way to break through." As lavender and other resilient blooms took root alongside the restored roses, Evelyn organized community events that celebrated art, music, and sustainable living. Local artisans, inspired by the story of the rebellion, transformed the once somber estate into a haven of creativity and hope. Every brushstroke, Every note of music, every carefully planted flower was a defiant act against the forces of greed and corruption that had once threatened to silence the truth. At a grand celebration held on the anniversary of the rebellion, Evelyn addressed a crowd of thousands in a transformed auditorium filled with art installations, interactive exhibits, and live performances. Evelyn, today we celebrate not the legacy of greed, but the promise of renewal. We honor our past by building a future that reflects our highest ideals. A future where every voice is heard, every dream is nurtured, and every act of courage inspires a new generation. In that moment, as the audience erupted into applause and cheers, Evelyn realized that the true power of legacy was not measured by wealth or titles, but by the strength to rise after every fall, to reclaim one's truth and rebuild with integrity. The rebellion had not been in vain. The once shattered pieces of her family's history had been forged anew into a mosaic of resilience, innovation, and hope. And so, as the sun set over the newly vibrant skyline of Seattle, casting a golden glow upon Harrison Tower and the bustling streets below, Evelyn raised a glass alongside her closest allies, Julian, Marisol, Virgil, and the dedicated members of the Veridian Circle. Evelyn, to new beginnings, to truth, and to the enduring power of a legacy reborn. As twilight deepened into night, the city sparkled with promise. In the garden, where once the shadows of betrayal had reigned, roses and lavender swayed gently in the breeze, a living testament to the belief that even the deepest scars could be transformed into beauty. The story of the Whitmore family, once marred by deceit and heartache, had evolved into an anthem of defiance, a blooming rebellion against the darkness. In the quiet hours after the celebration, as Evelyn walked alone among the softly lit pathways of the garden, she paused before Eleanor's portrait. With trembling fingers, she traced the contours of the painted face, as if drawing strength from the memory of a woman who had fought against all odds. "Evelyn, I will honor you, grandmother. I will make sure that every shadow gives way to light." Thus, in the legacy of Eleanor Whitmore and the collective courage of those who dared to challenge a corrupt system, a new chapter was written, one where resilience blossomed in the face of despair, and the quiet power of truth reigned supreme. The blooming rebellion had transformed not only a family and a corporation, but also the very fabric of a community determined to rewrite its destiny.
Everyone, get ready, because today we are diving deep into a world of family secrets and like cutthroat corporate stuff. It's all tangled up.
Yeah.
This fictional novel we're looking at is called Shadows of Legacy, The Blooming Rebellion. And
Oh, yeah, I know this one.
it follows the story of Evelyn Whitmore. She gets betrayed, builds this whole business empire, and then exposes a crazy web of deceit that like no one saw coming.
Yeah, this story is wild.
So are you ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so like right off the bat, Evelyn's whole world implodes when her dad and stepmother just kick her out of the family business. And get this, they give control to her stepbrother Garrett, who's more about like yacht selfies than actual work.
Right, and that betrayal is especially brutal because she put so much of her life into the company. She was even the one who like spearheaded a big sustainability initiative, but her ideas clashed with her family's like old school way of thinking. You know, profits over everything.
Yeah, it's like they're stuck in the past, totally missing how the world's changing. And poor Evelyn. Imagine feeling that lost and betrayed by your own family. But there's this shattered Ming vase. It might be more than just a broken vase, you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
The shattered vase is such a clever use of symbolism by the author. It's this visual representation of the broken family, and it hints at the huge conflict that's about to blow up. It's a small detail, but it says so much.
It's those little details that get you thinking right. And speaking of symbolism, we can't forget Evelyn's grandmother, Eleanor. Even though she's passed away, she's a huge part of the story. She leaves Evelyn this secret letter and a key that lead her to the Veridian Circle. What is up with this group?
The Veridian Circle is so fascinating. It's like a secret society of women who have all faced similar things, betrayals and injustice. They're all about supporting each other. They have this ledger detailing how they've helped other women, like Leela Chen, who fought off a hospital takeover, and Amara Santos, who exposed this massive embezzlement scheme. It shows you how strong women can be when they come together.
And their motto is so good. Roots in shadows, wings in sunlight. They work behind the scenes, giving support to women who society tends to overlook. It's a lifeline for Evelyn, giving her the connection she needs. And it's through the Veridian Circle that she meets mentor, #9 Marisol Vega. She's the super successful CEO, and she drops a bomb on Evelyn about her stepmother, Diane.
Right. Here's where the plot really thickens. Marisol tells Evelyn that Diane's past is, well, let's just say it's a little murky. Her real name is Daria Ivanova, and she has this history of manipulating wealthy men. She's not just a social climber. She's like a master manipulator with some secret plan.
Hold on. So Diane's basically a gold digger with a shady past. No wonder she was so quick to push Evelyn aside and put her own son in charge. But how could Evelyn's dad be so clueless about all of this? It's kind of hard to believe.
Well, that's what makes it so interesting. It makes you think about trust and denial in families. Sometimes it's harder to see the truth about the people we're closest to, especially when we're blinded by things like love or like the need to present this perfect image to the world.
It's the classic things aren't always what they seem scenario. And while all this drama is unfolding, Garrett's totally oblivious, living it up on his yacht and posting those carefree selfies. Talk about being out of touch with reality.
It's almost jarring. The contrast between Garrett's carefully curated online persona and the reality of his mother's actions. It makes you question what's real and what's fake. It also kind of foreshadows their downfall because they're living in a fantasy that's going to come crashing down.
So with her family turning against her and her stepmother's true colors revealed, what does Evelyn do? Does she try to take back her spot in the family business?
Nope. She does something way bolder and way more empowering. She takes all that anger and frustration and channels it into building something new and amazing.
Yeah.
She creates her own company, EcoVista Innovations, which is all about sustainable products.
Okay, that is such a power move. It's like she's taking everything her family stands for, the greed, the short-sightedness, and like their total disregard for the environment and flipping it all on its head. She's not just making a business, she's making a statement.
Exactly. And her first product is brilliant. She develops these biodegradable PPE kits, addressing a critical need while staying true to her commitment to sustainability.
Yeah.
It's a smart business decision that resonates with like how people are thinking these days.
And it's a huge success. She even lands a deal with a major hospital, which proves that sustainability and profits can go hand in hand. But you know what they say, no good deed goes unpunished.
You're telling me Garrett gets super jealous, and in a desperate attempt to hold on to control, he sabotages Evelyn. He arranges an arson attack on her warehouse, trying to destroy her company before it even gets off the ground.
That's seriously messed up. He's willing to risk people's safety and livelihoods just to feed his ego and cling to power.
It's a classic example of how fear and insecurity can lead to terrible choices.
Yeah.
But Evelyn doesn't give up even after this setback. And guess who comes to the rescue?
The Veridian Circle, right?
You got it. They are like Evelyn's secret weapon, always there when she needs them most.
Those women are amazing. What do they do to have Evelyn get back on track?
Well, with a little help from Marisol's connections, Evelyn discovers that her grandmother had stashed away a supply of sustainable materials. It's like she knew Evelyn would need them someday. This unexpected discovery lets Evelyn bounce back from the sabotage and keep her company going. It's a testament to Eleanor's foresight and how much she believed in her granddaughter. She knew Evelyn could overcome anything.
It's like even though Eleanor's gone, her spirit is still guiding Evelyn. What an incredible legacy. So with these new resources and the Veridian Circle support, Evelyn's ready to take on her next challenge.
And that challenge involves exposing the truth about her family and taking back what's rightfully hers. But we'll have to dive into that in part 2. Welcome back to our deep dive into Shadows of Legacy. Last time we saw Evelyn overcoming that huge setback thanks to the Veridian Circle and her grandmother's well-timed support.
It's amazing how she takes that sabotage and like turns it into a chance to show everyone how strong she really is. And she doesn't stop there.
Oh, no, she doesn't. Evelyn decides to make her next big move at, get this, a fancy gala with all of Seattle's elite. It's a bold move to confront her family and their business practices out in the open like that.
It's like she's saying, I'm not scared of you anymore, and I'm here to expose you for who you really are.
That's exactly it.
Yeah.
And she does it in a way that directly challenges her family's business. Harrison Enterprises.
Yeah.
Remember those seaweed-based six-pack rings she unveils? They're not just a cool product. They represent her commitment to making things better.
Yeah, it's like she's saying, look, this is what sustainability looks like. This is real progress. But how does the family react? I mean, they can't be happy about this, right?
We can imagine. Diane doesn't take it well at all. She completely loses it at the gala and shows everyone her true colors. The same people she's been trying so hard to impress.
Oh man, that must have been awkward. It's like something out of a movie, this perfect family image crumbling right in front of everyone.
Totally a pivotal moment. But then things get even more intense. Richard Evelyn's dad has a heart attack right there in the middle of everything.
Whoa, talk about adding to the drama. It's like a Shakespearean tragedy. The family falling apart, secrets, accusations, and then the sudden health crisis. What happens next? Does this story move to the hospital?
It does. And the hospital becomes the setting for another major reveal. Richard, lying there in his bed, finally confesses that he knew about Diane all along.
He knew this whole time, but he didn't say anything. That's a lot to carry around, knowing you were deceived and that your silence let someone hurt other people.
And it gets more complicated. Richard says that his own mother, Eleanor, tried to warn him about Diane, but he wouldn't listen. He was so focused on this idea of the perfect family that he couldn't see what was right in front of him.
That's got to be tough coming to terms with that. It shows how easy it is to be blinded by our own desires and insecurities, even when it comes to the people we love.
And while Richard is dealing with guilt and regret, Garrett's busy having his own meltdown. Remember those stolen company bonds Marisol mentioned? Turns out Garrett was trying to skip town with them.
Seriously? Of course he was. But did he get away with it?
Nope. Thanks to the Veridian Circle, he gets caught at the airport before he can take off. It seems like everyone's secrets are catching up to them.
It's almost satisfying seeing their carefully constructed world fall apart, all their lies and schemes finally exposed. But it's kind of sad too, isn't it?
It is. They've caused so much damage, not just to themselves, but to everyone around them. But the story isn't over yet. Evelyn's journey continues.
Okay, so what happens next? Does Evelyn finally get justice? Does Harrison Enterprises go down in flames?
The story jumps ahead a bit and shows us what happens after all the chaos. Ecovista's thriving, and they're now in the same tower that Harrison Enterprises used to occupy. The Veridian Circle has their meetings in the penthouse, and their influence is growing as they continue to empower women and fight against corruption.
That's a great image of change. The old way of doing things replaced by a new generation focused on sustainability, honesty, and doing what's right. What about Evelyn's dad, though? What happens to him after his confession? Does he go to jail?
Surprisingly, no. Evelyn shows a lot of compassion and actually advocates for his rehabilitation. She knows he messed up, but she also sees that he can change. She wants him to learn from his mistakes and become a better person.
That's a really powerful message about forgiveness and second chances. It shows that even after all that betrayal and pain, it's still possible to choose empathy and understanding. So does the story wrap everything up neatly?
Not completely. But while there's a sense of justice and things being set right, the story leaves us with a question. How do we, like Evelyn, challenge the systems that are causing harm and actually create a better future? It's a question that makes you think even after you finish the book.
You're right, Evelyn's story is fiction, but the lessons about resilience, integrity, and working together are very real. It's a story that sticks with you. But we're running out of time for this part of our deep dive. Let's take a quick break and then we'll come back to wrap things up and finally explore Eleanor's true legacy. We're back for the last part of our deep dive into Shadows of Legacy. It's been a wild ride, right? From family drama and corporate schemes to women supporting each other. It's a lot to think about here.
Absolutely. It's amazing how the story brings together all these themes like family power and sustainability. It's not just about one woman fighting for what's right. It's about challenging a whole system that puts profit ahead of people and the planet.
Yeah, and it reminds us that we can all do something to create a better future. But before we go there, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, the symbolism in the book. We talked about that shattered vase and the seaweed rings, but what about the lavender replacing those withered roses in Eleanor's garden? That image was so striking.
It is a beautiful image. Those withered roses, they represent how the family's values have decayed and all the damage their lives have caused. But the lavender that grows in their place, well, that symbolizes something completely different. It's about resilience and renewal. It's about choosing a different path.
It's like those lavender blooms represent Evelyn's own growth, right? She
Yeah.
could have been destroyed by the betrayal and sabotage, but she chose to create something new and better. She found strength in her grandmother's legacy and the support of the Veridian Circle, and she became this amazing force for good.
You got it. And it makes us think about how we deal with tough times. Do we let them break us, or do we use them to grow?
Yeah.
Evelyn's story shows that even when things are really hard, we can choose a different path.
So we've talked about the symbolism, the betrayal, all the corporate stuff. But I think it all comes back to Eleanor. What do you think her real legacy is? Is it the Veridian Circle? Is it Ecovista? Or is it something even bigger than that?
That's a great question.
Hmm.
I think Eleanor's legacy is the spirit of empowerment she gave to the women around her. It wasn't just about money or connections. It was about believing in their strength, their intelligence, their ability to make the world a better place.
It's like she planted these seeds of change that grew into this amazing network of women who are challenging the way things are and making a real difference. It reminds us that real change often starts small, with people who are brave enough to speak up and fight for what they believe in.
And it's not just about women supporting women. It's about everyone recognizing that we each have a part to play in making the world more just and sustainable. Whether it's starting a business or advocating for new policies or even just making better choices in our everyday lives, we can all contribute to building a better world.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into Shadows of Legacy, the main takeaway is this. We don't have to settle for the way things are. We can challenge the systems that are hurting people. We can fight for what's right, and we can create a future that we're proud of.
You said it, Evelyn's story might be fictional, but it's full of real lessons about resilience, about integrity, and about the power of coming together to make change. It's a story that stays with you, and hopefully it makes you want to make a difference in your own life.
So for our listeners out there, what are some things they can do to embrace that spirit of change and help create a more sustainable future? Any final thoughts before we sign off?
I think it starts with paying attention, being aware of the things that are causing harm, and finding ways to challenge them. Maybe it's supporting businesses that share your values, or getting involved in activism, or even just talking to your friends and family about these important issues. Even small actions can add up. And remember, you're not alone. Like the Veridian Circle shows us, there's power in connecting with people who share your vision.
That's a great point. Finding your community, your support system can make all the difference. So to everyone listening, thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We hope you found it thought-provoking and inspiring. Remember, you have the power to make change, and we hope you'll use it. Thanks for listening.